At OPTAVIA, our mission is to offer the world lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. The following audio contains the personal testimonials of independent coaches and clients within the OPTAVIA community. Their results are based on the unique experiences of their journey. We cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. We hope these stories inspire you to continue your journey with or join OPTAVIA, but please note they have not been verified and your individual journey to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you speak with a healthcare provider in the U.S. or a doctor in Singapore and Hong Kong prior to beginning your journey with OPTAVIA. Additionally, this audio may contain income or earning representations of some independent OPTAVIA coaches. We cannot guarantee financial success. Success with OPTAVIA is derived from successful sales efforts, which required hard work, diligence, skill, persistence, competence, and leadership. OPTAVIA acknowledges that this audio may be accessible to OPTAVIA coaches in the U.S., Hong Kong, and Singapore. For independent OPTAVIA coaches operating in the U.S., please see the OPTAVIA Income Disclosure Statement for statistics on actual earnings of U.S. coaches under the U.S. Compensation Plan. Please note that the Income Disclosure Statement only applies to independent OPTAVIA coaches operating in the U.S. under the U.S. Compensation Plan and does not in any way constitute any representations as to actual or potential accrual of benefits for Hong Kong or Singapore coaches under the International Compensation Plan. Yours in Health, the OPTAVIA team.
All right, my name is Lisa Castro, and this is
Jaime. How are you guys doing this evening?
We happen to be married, so we are here to share in this program presentation tonight to help you understand more about what we have to offer in helping people create health. You know, a lot of times we think about weight loss when it comes to health, and we might even say, oh, I'm maintaining my weight. Hallelujah, that is fantastic. What we don't realize is the long haul of it all. My husband and I, we have been on our health journey for 17 years, over 17 years. And boy, not in a great place. So about optimizing, that is what we're really about. And that's why we were asked to do the call tonight, is because it is the ongoing journey of creating health. So let me welcome you to our world. A lot of times people like to see the before and after photos, and that gives them some reference point of, is this really making a difference? Because it's measurable, you can see the difference. That was me on the left-hand side when I started my health journey. I'm smiling that photo, but actually I was thinking, don't take my picture, as my sister-in-law knew she was going to be sharing this program with me as my health coach and my brother as well. And I had just struggled the morning of my 43rd birthday to get out of bed. It was horrible that morning. The fatigue was just, I don't even know how to describe it. My body felt like it weighed a ton without exaggeration. And the fatigue was horrible. The pain was even worse. And there were days that I had to roll onto the floor and lift myself out of bed by using the side of the bed to get up. And then I remember thinking, man, is this as good as it gets? She didn't know that I was in such pain. She had no idea how bad things had gotten. She didn't know that our house was a place of, you know, feeling broken and broke. And so when we were, as I got out of bed that day, 3 hours later, my sister-in-law showed up at my door and she introduced me to this wonderful program. And my brother joined in sharing all the benefits that could be had. They didn't know I just resigned myself to not even trying anymore. But that day I said, okay, I'm ready. At first I said, why would I spend money just to fail again? But instead I said yes. And the journey since then has been amazing. So as you can see, I got my health back. I was in a place where, you know, if I hadn't lost weight and worked on some healthy mind and dealing with stress and sleep and all the things that you're going to be hearing about, that I can't even imagine the direction our lives would be today. How about you?
Well, yes. I mean, going back to that day or that time, I remember that we were in a dark place. You said we were broken. That is true. Mm-hmm. I was not sure how I could help Lisa through what was happening in her life. And so I became more disconnected. I basically committed myself to my career, and I became very good at that. But in looking back, what I needed actually to do was be more connected with Lisa and help her through her journey. And look at where she is now. Good that she took that step, because not only was she changed her health, but also because I had always wanted to get fit or be fitter, and it just, nothing I did ever worked. And it was like always someday, and those some days kept coming. And until that time when we took the journey, did things change? And I don't have to work in deep snow anymore.
Yes, we traded in the white snow for white sand in Siesta Key, Florida. So loving it. Although we still live part-time in Oregon, we go back and forth. We're not snowbirds. We're too young to be snowbirds, aren't we?
Yes.
60 and 62 is too young.
Yes.
We're too young. So we're commuters. We go frequently back and forth between the Pacific Northwest and the South in Florida. And it's just beautiful here. This is what we wanted to show you. This is the part that gets me way more excited than the weight loss alone, because it's the health and vitality, the desire to live a quality of life that I didn't think was possible. I'd lost all hope. And here we are doing amazing adventures all over the world. And that picture up in the left-hand corner, that was my son and I celebrating our shared birthdays are really close together. And it was crazy how amazing that was, and to do it with him. You know, it's like that experience, as well as running trails up in Sundance, Utah, and for us to be in Cabo.
Yes.
We were reenacting the Titanic scene. Can you tell? We look just like them, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I've jumped out of an airplane for my 50th birthday. And what's your favorite activity?
Well, now almost any experience, but I do like cycling, and I do like riding my motorcycle, and actually just spending time with people, having them have an experience. I think that's the big thing. That's the joy. That's
It sure is. It's being able to share those experiences with others. And I'd say that is one of the biggest things we enjoy about what our program is about, is the community and developing those relationships. Matter of fact, we actually renewed our vows for our 25th anniversary 2 years after we'd started our program, because we changed so much inside and out. So I just encourage you guys to go ahead and put something in the chat that you say is your favorite experience, your favorite thing about creating a healthy, a life of vitality. You may not want to jump out of an airplane for your 50th birthday, but it could be that you have some other adventures, that it could be just something as simple as, I want to be able to get on the floor and play with my grandchildren. Or it could be that you want to be healthy at a young age so that you don't have to live kind of the despair that we were feeling, and get to a place where life is amazing for anyone around you and the people you attract when you're in that place. Here's this is the part I was talking about. I can't wait to be able to share even more, because, you know, not only are we sharing what we do as health coaches with people that we may have never met, because when I started, I was a hermit when I started coaching. I started coaching a couple of weeks into becoming a client because I felt so amazing. We went out whitewater rafting 2 weeks after I started the program, because my nutrition was so much better. I wasn't living on chocolate anymore, although I have these chocolate OPTAVIA brownies that are delicious. But we have been able to have adventures with our family now as older adults compared to when we were their parents and they were living at home. I just wish we could go back in time. And that's what I encourage younger parents. Think about what your future is going to look like. If you keep going the direction you're going, will you end up like I did? Like my husband, like my parents, who were 60 pounds overweight. And at 64 years old, they turned that around. And my dad became a triathlete. And my mom became a gardener and going for walks. They're still alive and well at 82 years old. My dad was competing up until he was almost 80 years old, and in trials for the actual National Senior Games. Our son is here visiting us in Florida right now, even considering possibly living here part-time, who knows? And then my brother and his family are down at the bottom part of the family. There's 3 generations alone right there in that mix. And then you throw my parents into it, and even my grandma, who got healthy on this program, had an amazing adventure. I've got my brother-in-law over to the right, who has gotten, he's been a coach for a long time, and his journey has been something I'd love for you to hear his story one day. But I want to make sure we get a chance for everyone else to share, because the things that you're going to hear, if you knew not only you could get healthy, but you could help others create optimal health in their lives, not just maintain weight, but to have optimal health by managing is more the word for it. And you're going to find out why I say that. Optimal health and weight loss. Okay, so I'm going to ask a poll. Actually, I'm going to have Jaime ask the poll here.
Which answer best describes you? I'm having a hard time reading that.
Oops, I think I will read it then. Okay. U.S. independent OPTAVIA coach. Is that what you are? Does that describe you best? How about a U.S. OPTAVIA client? Would you believe we're asking the question, Hong Kong or Singapore independent OPTAVIA coach? We have coaches and clients there, as well as OPTAVIA clients. So if you're one of those, let us know. And if you're a guest and you're here because you want to learn more about how you too could have health in your life, what would that look like for you? So I'm glad you're on tonight. Thank you so much for all of you to be on. All right, this is the part that I think is what makes our program so special.
Oh, cool.
And so what are your thoughts about this?
Well, I think this is a way for people to actually have a ownership of their health, because they're going along with it in your life book, and particularly with the app, and also with now that Dr. A is doing the 5 weeks. We have 5 more weeks of that.
Yeah.
That is just cool. This is a way to actually get the support directly from Dr. A.
And if you want to know more about that, check with the health coach that invited you onto the call, because that's your opportunity to hear directly from Dr. A and interactive with that to be able to help you move forward in your journey, whether you're a client, coach, or even somebody that's a guest and wants to learn more and experience it. Okay, so agenda. What is our agenda tonight? We want to talk to you about mindset, skill set, and action. What do I mean by that? Mindset is understand the difference between optimizing your health and the weight maintenance myth. Dr. A likes to really, if he hears you say, I'm maintaining my weight, and he's asking, are you optimizing or maintaining? So skill set, learn how to continue striving towards optimization. There's not a one and done. I know a lot of people think, ooh, I've arrived when the scale number hits where they want it to be, but there's so much more. And instead of saying, oh, I have to, it's like, I get to. Where would we be today if we hadn't learned about creating a healthy life the way we have taught through that systematic approach that you just saw? We have a Habits of Health book, a Habits of Health lifestyle, which is we call it the life book, our life book. And when we use that life book, and I got to go back to that because this is so important, that life book where it says your life book, this is your opportunity to be the author of your own story over the next 6 months to a year. And there's questions Dr. A is asking you to go through your journey. He's going to be asking you very specific questions that will help you realize this is hard to swallow, but your current reality. Where are you at? And there's an evaluation there that will help you see a good picture where it's a number associated with, but it's a number you can work on improving. And boy, has my improved. All right, so that action, create your health optimization plan using structural tension. What is structural tension? I'm not crazy about structure, and I sure don't like tension, but boy, in this case, it's a good thing. You'll find out. Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson, the co-founder of our company and our mentor and business partner. He is our health partner, and if it weren't for Dr. A really saying, how can I seriously have this life of preventing people from getting to a place where they ended up on his table in critical care, needing surgery, and then even coming back because they didn't take care of themselves. And he says, I want to help people further upstream when I have something I can do to help them not only get better, but to create something where they have health in their lives. So in order to create and maintain optimal health, you need to organize your life around what matters most to you. By Dr. Wayne Scott Anderson. I know for a fact that Dr. A doesn't like to say need very often, but in this case, he means need to organize our life around what matters most. I got into that unhealthy place because I kept putting everybody else first and I put myself last. And it's just like that oxygen mask on our face. The flight attendant says, put it on yourself first before you help the person next to you, because you can both go down. And I got to the point where I couldn't take care of others. So I really implore you to follow his advice. This is the cool part. So many times people know about losing weight, getting to a healthy weight. You might already be at a healthy weight. Some people even need to gain weight. So prepare for your journey. How would you do that? Well, you're going to be working with a health coach, and they will guide you along that journey. If you're a health coach yourself, you are preparing with a coach. You're always a client. So getting yourself mentally prepared, getting your environment prepared, and then move on to step 2, to where you achieve healthy weight. It is key, because you can say, well, I'm going to work on my healthy mind, but a lot of times that healthy body will mess with a healthy mind. I didn't have lifestyle diseases like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, but I'll tell you with the extra weight around my hips and thighs messed with my head. Does that count? So being at a healthy weight, it's amazing how the world opens up, the clarity, the excitement for the future, the possibilities that we can see that could be possible that we might not have thought until we unveiled ways that we could, which is exactly what happened just in a very, oh gosh, I'd say it was the third day. I was feeling more energy than I'd felt in a long time. And I wasn't having hunger and cravings. And that made it all the way possible to really break the addiction that I had to chocolate. And I mean an addiction. I never smoked, drank, or did drugs, but I did chocolate like it was all of the above. So I'm thrilled to say that I overcame that. And my husband's been a great help in that as well. It's not that I don't have occasional chocolate, but I get to enjoy it for the right reasons, not to solve all my problems and deal with or not wanting to deal with my emotions is more the case. How about transitioning to healthy eating? We've been doing that. We transitioned where we went from the way our program is designed to be very, very precise in getting the key results that are predictable, but then transitioning to healthy eating. That is when things get really interesting I remember being a little afraid to go to more traditional eating because I thought I might make poor choices, but because it was designed in such a way that I could, it made it possible to move on to the next one, to live the habits of health, living a quality of life. And you're going to see that we actually did this. Our stories are actually in Dr. A's Habits of Health book, along with our family members that you saw on the previous slide. Most of them are in the book, and most of them became health coaches. Almost everybody on that slide of the family became a health coach, and except for, I think, 2 that are just clients, and the rest have been health coaches all this time. So I just want to invite you to be thinking, who else could it be in your life that you could help optimize onto step 5? Optimize health for your age.
That's a good one.
His story is actually on the one that says optimizing your health at any age, as young as my husband even. Yes. Well, even my parents starting at 64 and being 82 and still optimizing their health. And then my grandma started the program at 86 years old when people had given up on her with her health and even suggested we let her go when she had her 3rd heart attack. You know what? We opted for surgery, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that. Stay tuned. So step 6, potential to live a longer, not just longer, but longer, healthier life. Does that potential sound good to you? Are you willing to do what it takes to get there? Because if you're back stuck on step 2, you're going to miss out on a lot of quality life. And I'm going to encourage you to really say, I'm rolling up my sleeves because that's the life I want. Daily choices.
Yes, daily choices are important.
Yeah, these are the way that we can optimize our health instead of disease. This is a part I was talking about, is where we have a tendency to look at this chart and think it's just a straight line. I'm maybe non-sick right now, and I'm just going to stay non-sick. That's what Dr. A refers to as maintaining. Not the best way to live a life. If you want more quality, some people, I got to say, I got a little content with the way we work, because it was my normal. I got used to my new normal. And then when I realized more was possible, it was crazy what was happening. Got to the healthier weight. Then I was able to start exercising again, when before it caused a flare and put me in bed. And then my muscles started getting stronger. And it's like, wow, because I was like a marshmallow before. And then the anti-inflammatory state, the autoimmune disorder that I had, along with multiple ones actually, that started dissipating, and that got better to where I could enjoy a quality of life and create optimal health. And then onward towards one that's not even listed on here is ultra health, instead of the non-sick and going down to the where it's sick, the fatigue, unhealthy, pre-disease, medications, and sick. I would have been even considered lower than that. It was the dramatic lifestyle change through practicing the habits of health at a healthy weight through our program. So I just really encourage you to be full on purpose as you go through your health journey, working with a coach. All right, emotional conflict. Do you ever have emotional conflict?
Oh, well, we all do.
I think I have more than he does, though. I would be willing to bet that big time. And what I mean by that, or Dr. A means by it in his book, this is actually a diagram right out of his book, intense emotional conflict. When you have bad feelings that motivate you to take action, you get motivated. I got to do something about this. I did that. I can't tell you how many times I did that prior to discovering our program, OPTAVIA. And what happens is you take some action, and then, okay, I lost 5 pounds. It's like, okay, take a little, I might as well have a little chocolate right now. That's not going to hurt. I can reward myself. Less action reduces bad feelings. Your actions reduces bad feelings. So if I took action, then I'm going to feel like I'm doing a good job. So then I have less emotional conflict. So then it's reducing my bad feelings and reducing my motivation to act. That's when I have that chocolate that maybe I wouldn't have had prior, because I have less emotional conflict. Then now, because I'm feeling better about it, now I'm going to take less action. Why do we do that to ourselves? I don't know if I explained that just quite right. Intense emotional conflict that leads to action, then the action causes, you have reduced bad feelings, so you have less emotional conflict, so then you go into that reduced bad feelings, reducing your motivation to act, so you take less action. Yeah, that's what happens. That's called the yo-yo diet, or exercise, or put anything else in there. So I want to ask another poll. This one, you can read that and I'll ask the question.
Which phase are you currently in?
What phase are you currently in? So what phase are you currently in? Okay, if this describes you, I'm in the weight loss phase. I'm in the transitionally healthy weight phase, or transitional healthy weight phase, I should say. So are you in transition, or are you in healthy weight phase? I'm in the optimization phase. So you've gone on, you've lost your weight, you're optimizing all of those healthy habits. I'm in the longevity phase. It's been going on, and you are moving into your more mature years and really looking for that longevity. Whether you're 30 years old, 20 years old, or 50 years old, or 100 years old, are you optimizing for where you're at? And then the last one is I'm in need to make a decision phase. I remember those days. Jaime didn't have the intensity that I did, but he did it to support me, and he had some goals that he wanted to work towards as well. All right, that being said, I want to share one of our amazing friends. You heard my family story before. Pam Carter here is like family. She might not be biologically our family, but she's been very connected with our entire family that you met before in our life. And I would call her my sister from another mister. Pam Carter, can you take yourself off mute and share your story?
Well, hi, Lisa. Oh my gosh. Thank you for inviting me to share tonight. And yes, you really are like a sister to me. I love these slides. Look at us at the beach, our favorite place to walk together. Good for you. I started my journey 11 years ago, and the next day I was in your and Jaime's living room at a gathering, and I lost 100 pounds. During that process, early on, I started reading the first edition of Habits of Health and very quickly realized this was way more than weight loss. This was about mindset change and creating that healthy life for myself. And so I lost that 100 pounds. And you can see by the one picture of myself with 3 of my grandchildren. Those are my 3 youngest grandchildren. I actually have 7 altogether, from 7 years old to 24. To be able to just live that healthy life with them has been really fun, really a blessing. But you know what? This last April, I love that slide you had up, Lisa, of the emotional conflict. I don't know about any of you, but there's been a little bit of emotional conflict going on in my life in 2020. And April 22nd of this year, I started to take some inventory, and I realized, you know what? I have backed up on a lot of my healthy habits, and I'd gained back a little bit of weight. And I wasn't super unhealthy, but I was starting to feel uncomfortable the way some of us can feel if we're not at our ideal weight. And so I made the commitment to myself and to you, Lisa, that I was going to do 66 days of transformation. And so I started that and loved it. 66 days of connecting with you every single day as my coach, 66 days of reading and working in my life book and the Habits of Health every day, 66 days of connecting with my community, and also being live on these Habits of Health Zooms every week. And then 66 days of following our structured nutrition plan. And what was cool about that was, again, getting back into that mindset and changing my mindset around optimal health. And during that time, I turned 67. And last month, I had my annual checkup with my physician here in Florida. And at the end of the checkup, he said, I want to thank you for taking such good care of yourself. You really make my job fun. Now, who on here has their doctor tell them that they make their doctor's job fun? But that's what it's really all about. And you know, when I look at my grandkid, this picture of my grandkids, I am going to be doing that snowshoeing with my great grandchildren and enjoying and being vibrant with them. So thank you, Lisa, for the opportunity to share. And thank you and Jaime for not just being my friends, but being my supporter, my cheerleader, my encourager, the one that I can turn to when I have days that I struggle. So thank you both so much.
Thank you for sharing that, Pam. It's been glorious being a partner in your health journey and our friendship. Okay, we wanted to share the poll results. Let's see what that looks like before we go on to this slide. Okay, I'm in the weight loss phase, that's 69%. I'm in the transition healthy weight phase, 15%. I'm in the optimizing phase, 11%. I'm in the longevity phase, 2%. I want to see that number go up.
Yes.
I'm in the need to make a decision phase. Well, welcome to the call. I hope what you're hearing is going to help you make that really important decision. All right, you guys ready for this? The well-being chart. Where would you fall if you put yourself on this chart over to the left? Fulfillment, success, depression, failure, or somewhere in between each one of those things. If you were to rate yourself on a scale, where would you be? If you were 1 towards failure, which I would have felt like a 1 or 2. Success? Obviously not if I was on the other end of it, but from fulfillment to depression. Are you feeling burnt out, depressed, contented, fulfilled, but not failing? Thriving, fulfilled, and successful, worn out, successful, but depressed? Well, Dr. A himself, this is his chart on the right-hand side. He was back in 2001, or 2000, he was an ICU physician, missing family, stressed out, not in a good place. And then in 2001, he started creating this health company, lots of time with family, living on credit, better than it could have been, but definitely room for improvement. Then into 2008, when he wrote The Habits of Health for the first version of it, lots of time with family, financial security, living on water, and thriving. I watched that journey along with my husband. It has been beautiful to watch his health journey along with ours and so many of our family members and way beyond. So, you know, I missed out on the 1986, look at that, single ICU physician. Where was he? So he's been all over the map, and I'm so glad to say that he is staying in that fulfillment stage where he's between the success and fulfillment. Where do you want to be? I would definitely say we're in the same category. I am thrilled with where we are in our lives. So optimization, physical, emotional, and emotional. This is a story that would exactly share that. This is my grandma. I singled her out for a reason because I wanted to dedicate this call to my grandma in memory of her. She's a former independent certified health coach. She was a health coach up until she passed away at 94 years old. I just, you know, and she inspired a whole lot of people. That's her at her Blazer game in Portland, Oregon, surrounded by family. All of the family, also clients and coaches in that picture. But she ended up, you know, really turning her health around in so many ways. And I just really encourage you, it's never too late. What do you want for your future? That picture on the right was right before she passed away, and she wanted to celebrate her birthday a little early because she didn't think she was going to make it to her 94th. The family surrounded her, and she sang Amazing Grace at her birthday party. And for some reason, she wasn't out of tune like she'd always been. And she ended up still sticking around until it really was her 94th birthday, almost 4 months later. I want to be like that when I grow up. So what do you want it to be? Okay, so action, create your health optimization plan. Structural tension. If you're creating, this is in Dr. A's Habits of Health book, creating reality, or your current reality, sorry, that's where you're at currently. That's the part that I said might be a hard pill to swallow. I like looking at the desired results on the right-hand side. What do I want it to look like? Some people can't see that. So I want to paint the picture for you. What could it look like if you knew you couldn't fail? Would it look like any of the pictures that you saw before you? Any of the stories you heard before? What choices would you need to make, those secondary choices that would lead to that desired outcome? This is what you're going to find that is going to be so helpful in that structural tension. I fell in love with structural tension, very much so, and I hope you will as well. All right, so we're going to take a last poll. But before we do, as you're typing that in there, I want you to be thinking about something. My grandma, her story was in Dr. A's First Habits of Health book. She came to our house when Dr. A was visiting and got her book autographed. And Dr. A kissed her on the lips, and she walks out of the house and she's on the front porch. She goes, "I'm never going to wash my lips again." And that story had said that the family thought of her as her hero. And when she passed away, we actually went up to Dr. A's house. He signed a new book for her, and we buried it with her. And in that book, on the front cover of it, inside the front cover, he said, "Eileen, you're my hero. How do you want your life to be? What would it look like?" I'm going to ask you to really think about that. And if you're in that decision mode for yourself, please say yes. And if you're wanting to help others make that decision, please have them watch this video. All right, so how did you enjoy this community time? Excellent, very good, good, below average, poor. I hope we didn't qualify in those areas. I'm a high achiever, so hopefully it was higher up there. But
Yes.
I'm excited to find out the results. So I'm going to close up my window here and move on as we finish up the call. I want you to be aware that these are ways you can stay in touch. And you might want to take a screenshot of this so that you have it on hand, where you can watch a library of recorded calls that you're hearing today. And you'll get reminded if you send a text to OPTAVIA 30 at the number, it's like a phone number, 990-00. If you can remember that, you are going to be reminded weekly to join these calls. So I want to invite you to join us next week. Habits of Health Community Time. The topic will be your life book, Element 21. Do you need to supplement? You know, sometimes we are a little deficient, even though our program has all the vitamins and minerals that most people need. You may need something extra. So I would encourage you to listen to that call. And then Dr. Joe Pecoraro is going to be the independent certified health coach hosting that call. And a dear friend, and love the guy, and he knows his stuff well.
Yes, he does.
So featuring special guest, Alexandra Miller. And I just wanted to invite you to stay on the call. And if we want to, I would really encourage you to reach out to other people that may be interested in learning more about how we inspire others as health coaches and how we can pay it forward. And if you're a client already or a coach, you know, either one, stay on, but the guests even are welcome to join us and think about how you could invite people in your world that could create a community of support around you, and you can do the same for them. Okay, last but not least, there's an important update. There is no OPTAVIA coach webinar and field-led training on Monday, October 12th. We're doing an advanced leadership that day, so a lot of leaders will be traveling. So I want to point that out to all and those that are on our team.
At OPTAVIA, our mission is to offer the world lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. The prior audio contained the personal testimonials of independent coaches and clients within the OPTAVIA community. Their results are based on the unique experiences of their journey. We cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. We hope those stories inspire you to continue your journey with or to consider joining OPTAVIA. But please note that they have not been verified and your individual journey to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you speak with a healthcare provider in the U.S. or a doctor in Singapore and Hong Kong prior to beginning your journey with OPTAVIA. Additionally, this audio may have contained income or earning representations of some independent OPTAVIA coaches. We cannot guarantee financial success. Success with OPTAVIA is derived from successful sales efforts, which require hard work, diligence, skill, persistence, competence, and leadership. OPTAVIA acknowledges that this audio may be accessible to OPTAVIA coaches in the U.S., Hong Kong, and Singapore. For independent OPTAVIA coaches operating in the U.S., please see the OPTAVIA Income Disclosure Statement for statistics on actual earnings of U.S. coaches under the U.S. Compensation Plan. Please note that the Income Disclosure Statement only applies to independent OPTAVIA coaches operating in the U.S. under the U.S. Compensation Plan and does not in any way constitute any representations as to actual or potential accrual of benefits for Hong Kong or Singapore coaches under the International Compensation Plan. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.